Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would chat with you guys a little bit about some of the questions people are asking me since I've gone keto again, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that no, number one, I'm not a keto tard. Number two, I'm not even advocating ketogenic diets as safe or healthy for everyone. So let me put on my plus 5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skill at my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. All right, guys, a lot of people were asking these things like, are you against a lot of these things with keto diets? Yeah, I'm against guys who are blasting a bunch of trend and doing keto diets themselves who are going to really hurt themselves as a result of it, because that is really a horrific combination. Extremely unhealthy, and it's because they exacerbate the problems that the other one could cause. Meaning ketogenic diets can be okay if you're careful. If you do things right, they can be fine for your cholesterol levels. And I'm not talking about dietary cholesterol, we're keto tards. This is where you know someone's a keto tard. When you mention saturated fat intake and LDL cholesterol, they immediately say, dietary cholesterol isn't related to blood cholesterol. All right, you know you're dealing with a keto tard and a moron right there, right? That's what I'm talking about, stupid people, or ignorant people. That's a problem. Or someone who says, oh, insulin matters more than calories on a ketogenic diet. See, that's a keto tard. That's someone that we should genuinely be making fun of because they are really ignorant. They are ignorant when they make statements like that. And that should be mocked. That should be made fun of. But that doesn't mean that people don't get good results on these diets. There's a difference between the two. Or if people who say things like humans store excess carbs as fat. No, we don't. Carbs don't make you fat. I mean, the stupidity of it, right? That's sheer ignorance. That's sheer ignorance. And those are things that we need to be aware of. But here's my point with the keto diet. Done correctly, they are amazing for appetite control. They are amazing for controlling certain types of inflammation, some medical issues. And here's what it comes down to. We've got a fair amount of scientific data showing that maybe they aren't ideal for gaining muscle, right? It's harder to gain muscle in theory on it. I haven't found that to be the case personally, though. It's harder to gain performance on them. I haven't personally found that to be the case. You guys got to remember, I have a lot of experience of using keto diets in the past, even though I really kind of, over the last couple of years, came out against some concern. I was concerned about certain health aspects of it. I'm concerned about people promoting them for the majority of people. I don't think that we should be promoting them for the majority of people. I think a lot of people really need to be doing them under the care of a medical doctor. And I think that if you don't know enough about nutrition and about your body and electrolyte balance and things like that, you probably shouldn't be running one of these diets outside of the care of a registered dietitian and a medical doctor, because it is an extreme diet, right? It is an extreme diet. Personally, I don't find it to be restrictive in the way a lot of people do, because I really like meat and I really like cheese. Like, if you would ask me what's my favorite foods to binge on, anything with cheese in it. Like, to me, that is my ultimate junk food. Like, I would much rather have that than sweets. And that's the beauty of it, is that the foods that I actually crave, because, we all have our foods that we crave. I happen to be allowed on keto diets. I mean, I love bacon. I love cheese. They fit right into the macros. Doesn't mean that's all I would eat, obviously. But you guys see the point I'm going with there. It works really, really well, because those are my weaknesses. Those are the foods that I absolutely adore. I would take that over a piece of pie or cake or ice cream any day. Any day. So that works well for me. And then the other thing that it comes down to, I'm one of those people who does seem to function just fine in that state. I've actually historically been able to hit tremendous maxes without even carb ups. Like, I've been able to do straight keto before for a month at a time and only eating carbs like once a month, instead of the normal cycling ketogenic diet, and go on to PR. I've been at my biggest and strongest in my entire life when I was younger while messing with the anabolic diet. Again, the strongest I've ever been, benching over 400, squatting 600. I did all that on almost no carbs in my 20s. I actually do quite well on that sort of diet. I can thrive in it. And that's been my concern, has been the discordance between some of the scientific literature and my own personal experiences. And I've tended to go in the direction of the evidence as a result of that. But at the end of the day, I need to go with what I know seems to work well for me. And you're seeing more experts emerging saying, look, our concerns about the health and muscle gaining elements of the keto diet may not actually be real, that in fact is actually quite possible to perform optimally on it, contrary to what would seem to be common sense as far as the evidence we've accumulated over the years. We're seeing more actual doctors and PhDs in nutritional science and exercise science who are saying actually athletes seem to do just fine on it. Now, could we argue it's not optimal? Well, sure we could. Sure we could. But here's the other thing. You know what's not optimal? Not having tight control of your calories. For some people, and myself included, I actually find it really, really, really easy to adhere to a caloric intake. I find it very easy to control my overall calories. I tend to get less injuries. I tend to get less inflammation and connective tissue from training. Things like that. And really, that's my limiting factor, guys. For me, that is always my limiting factor in my ability to train, my ability to get results. For me personally, I'm always limited by things like connective tissue inflammation or rate of muscle pulls. Those are the things that slow me down and mess me up. Historically, when I don't have those, I make continual progress. So that's a point there. The other thing is that it comes down to, as far as satiety, we know a lot of really high satiety foods work great. Generally, like for a while, I had been cutting and losing body fat on very high satiety, very high carb diet, a lot of potatoes, a lot of beans. Yes, they fill me up, but they also make my stomach bloat way out and make me uncomfortable for me to consume the amount of calories that I consume even when losing weight. My energy needs are tremendous. Like I lose weight. There's no way I could maintain my body weight on 3,000 calories. I lose weight even on 3,500 calories. At a certain point, though, when you're eating 2,000 calories of potatoes every day, plus all your protein and other stuff, plus you're throwing in beans and everything else, there's that gastrointestinal issue of the fullness at a certain point. And I simply find that my stomach feels better. My stomach is flatter. I don't deal with that stuff if I'm just getting most of my calories from fat. Like if I'm consuming more than 50% of my calories from fat, I don't have those issues. And I also, one of the reasons I have an insane appetite, I have really, really, really fast gastric emptying. Like my gastric emptying rate is extremely high. That's one reason I gain body fat easy, because food just goes through me quickly. I seem to digest higher fat foods a lot slower. Fills me up longer. And it feels like for me, I feel fuller on 3,000 calories of keto foods, of higher fat, moderate to high protein foods, than I do of 3,000 calories of even normal fibrous carbs and lean proteins. Right? I feel fuller. I feel more satiated. So for me personally, that matters. And I'm not one of these people who actually thinks these sort of diets help you bypass calories in, calories out. I don't believe in the insulin obesity hypothesis. I don't believe humans under normal conditions even store carbohydrates as fat. So those aren't the reasons I'm doing this diet. I'm doing this diet because it doesn't seem to negatively affect my personal ability to perform as an athlete. It gives me tight control of my calories. I enjoy the foods more. And I do know enough about doing these sort of diets that I can do so without risking my health, at least to any degree that I think is significant. In other words, I've learned historically that as long as my energy turnover is high enough, and you don't do stupid stuff like add butter to your coffee. That's one of the things several medical doctors who do let their clients do these sort of diets have noted. Things like the bulletproof coffee. There are medical doctors who've discussed this. It seems to really be the thing that pushes their clients up as far as their lipid profiles getting bad, and then when they take it out, their cholesterol returns to a normal, healthy range. In other words, just adding butter to your coffee and silly stuff like that instead of just consuming more fats. That's the problem. You'll need to be dumping coconut oil and extra butter on everything, trying to get another 400 calories, 500 calories of fat. It's not necessary. You can just eat the normal fatty foods, and it produces a much better result. So not doing silly stuff like that, just keeping my energy turnover really, really high. When I'm actually lifting and doing conditioning work, my LDL tends to stay within the normal range on this sort of diet. And that's what we want. That's ideal. You don't want your LDL going up. I know how to keep everything salted heavy. I consume a lot of sodium, potassium, magnesium, all these things that we're worried about depleting on this kind of diet. I find consuming them. The only one of them I do supplement is like magnesium. I take magnesium citrate and I buy it by the kilo. It's really cheap. And again, that helps with the muscle fullness. It helps with my performance. I keep my foods heavily salted. And these problems go away in addition to making sure that I get plenty of vegetables in, right? So I'm taking a more sane approach to it, and I don't necessarily think it's a magic diet. I think it helps with some health issues. I think it helps with some health issues and inflammation issues I personally have. I know other people who do use this sort of diet for medical issues that they have, and it has been successful and helpful for helping with some of those medical issues, and some of those are medically documented. So again, if someone has a reasonable approach to it and they know what they're doing, I think it's probably reasonable, but you do need to know a lot about nutrition to do this safely. People who have blood pressure issues and other stuff really, really need to do this carefully. They need to do this sort of stuff under the care of a doctor. And that's going to be the biggest one is comes down to electrolytes and salts. That really is that's my biggest concern when I say that this diet can kill you. Ketogenic diets, if your salt intake goes too low and you're the wrong person, it can kill you. So if you don't know what you're doing, you guys see the problem I'm coming to. For a lot of people, they don't need to be doing this sort of diet outside of the care of a medical doctor or a registered dietitian. They really don't. They need to be aware of this because a lot of people just simply do silly stuff like not get enough of their different salts in. And that actually is, in my opinion, one of the biggest immediate health concerns of a diet like this. That can actually hurt you. So just putting that out there. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.